Blasted gadgets.
The Declaration of Independence's introductory sentence states that its purpose is to explain the colonists' right to revolution. The Declaration's ideas about the purpose of government, the rights of the people, and the right to revolt provide the basis for the right to revolution. Purpose of government. The Declaration states that the government's main purpose is to protect the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which God gave to all men. Rights of the people. The Declaration states that governments derive their power from the consent of the governed, and that the people have the right to alter or abolish a government that destroys these ends. Right to revolt. The Declaration states that if a government tries to withhold these rights, the people are free to revolt. Today I watched as the rights and liberty of the internet was violated as a woman who left a comment on social media was betrayed by the media and ostracized by the legal system, fired from her job, and punished as her name and address and occupation was plastered over news outlets and over social media.
You know about rolling down in the deep. When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean.
And the legal system supported it, all because of a post, a comment about Donald fucking Trump. I have heard lately that there is talk about another civil war. I think it is time, and we are once again in the right. These fascist, gossip gorilla, Christian nationalist, white supremacist wannabe jackasses think that we are funny as they mock out voice, but they refuse to realize that every step they take against U.S., who are standing up and voicing our protest against what this country is becoming and the rights of this country that are being flaunted, erased or ignored. They refuse to see the damage they are doing. I know the reason why. I have been observing the degrading social structure, looking over the tracks of recent history. The core reason behind this has to do with moral values passed from generation to generation. You see, the freedom movement of the 60s gave way to the loss of family tradition and moral values taught to them by their parents.
There is a new king. Give your respect. It has begun.
After them came Generation X, who were tossed aside as their parents were still recovering from a generation of drugs, freedom, and, well, no boundaries. They didn't know what to do when their kids began to be kids except put them into programs and feed them medication they thought would fix the problem. Any doctor will tell you that prescription medication is designed to be a sedative to the problem, not a solution. You must find the root of the problem and apply a solution there, not lull it away with Ritalin, Thorazine, or lithium. Then came the generation, which is the root of the problem here, the millennials. They grew up having no idea what was going on. Their brothers and sisters were sent away for being what mom and dad didn't want, and they had no idea what that was exactly, so they came out and struck. First, they complained about this and that and turned the system against the workers and anyone who threatened them from getting their way. They rallied against the system's control piece by piece until they had made enough changes and gotten enough people fired, sent to jail, or killed, until this social habit of this generation became what we called a PC environment, or politically correct, which is basically their way or the highway. That is only half of the problem. The next generation, as they reached their late teens, became a generation that has no respect for others or anything they have because they have absolutely no moral value that has taught them the benefit of such living habits, and so you have the cancel culture as a result, a generation so detached from society and any desire to be a part of that mess that they go to extreme lengths to alienate themselves to any and all authority while offending them as severely as possible. by rejecting their birth name or dead name and refusing to adhere to any gender labels cause they refuse to be labeled anything in our society and even take offense if you try to. This is the true face behind this gentrification issue. But they do not see what is happening behind the scenes. The millennials don't care and have no care or concern with respecting their gender issue. The millennials are the current youth that is driving the future of tomorrow. They are programming the computers now and designing the innovations. Generation X has been outdated and replaced from most of the core industries. We have become too old and are no longer efficient. While they smile and act like they accept the cancel culture, it is what they are doing behind their backs that they should be concerned about. And that is the core, that is the battlefield of today's fascists, beyond the ethnic finger-pointing or blame, and showing it for what it truly is, and goddamn they are some ugly little bastards. Now I think that about squares us up. I think, if you want a civil war, there is the machine without its hologram disguise. Do what you want from here, but do realize everything you are doing and saying is no longer private. This woman's situation has proved that, and no one cares, so now it's time to get a taste of your own medicine. Try not to destroy everything our forefathers and their fathers' fathers fought and died to build in the process. Don't do shit's bad for you.
I've been told that there have been a lot of intelligent people throughout history who have believed in God. That's true. While you ponder the significance of that, I'd like you to consider Marcus. This is Marcus, and he's a very intelligent guy. He heard a pretty ridiculous claim from an anonymous source. He immediately didn't believe it and went about his day without giving it further thought. Later, Marcus heard a friendly acquaintance make the ridiculous claim, but despite the claim's ridiculousness, Marcus trusted the source, so he actually believed it. Yet because the ridiculous claim isn't actually true, you might think that it won't be too difficult to convince Marcus that he shouldn't believe it. And at this point, indeed, it might not be too difficult to convince him of the truth. I mean, he is an intelligent guy. Now let's change the circumstances. Let's say that Marcus was raised from birth to believe the ridiculous claim. If that's the case, it will be much more difficult to convince Marcus that the claim isn't true. After all, it was taught to him and consistently reinforced throughout his life by his parents, the very people nature has set him up to trust the most, regardless of their knowledge, or lack thereof, of the actual truth. Let's change the circumstances again. Let's say that not only was Marcus raised from birth to believe the ridiculous claim, but that the community of people who live around Marcus and his family were also raised believing the same ridiculous claim. At this point, Marcus's belief will be reinforced by many other people besides his blood relatives, including probably his spouse. His belief will be considered the norm, and anything that contradicts it will seem alien and wrong. Now, it will be very difficult to convince Marcus that the ridiculous claim is false. Let's change the circumstances yet again by simply adding many years to the effect. Let's say that the ridiculous claim has persisted throughout many generations. Marcus's community is merely the most recent community to have been raised with this belief. And the ridiculous claim throughout the years has caused beloved traditions to develop. Traditions that provide happiness, stability, familiarity, and comfort. Those traditions gave rise to institutions. The ridiculous claim has rolled down a mountain like an avalanche, gaining momentum. And now there are holidays that celebrate its different aspects. Entire buildings constructed to facilitate rituals developed from the ridiculous claim, complete with specialized vocations, hierarchies, uniforms, schools, and inspiring works of art in every medium. Naturally, intense tribalism develops, bonding people who believe the ridiculous claim, thereby affecting political policy from the least powerful forms of government to the most powerful. This intense tribalism also causes the stigmatization and ostracization of anyone who does not believe the ridiculous claim, even amongst friends and family. Historically, and even in some regions to this day, disbelievers may be tortured and killed. At this point, not only would the ridiculous claim seem obviously true, but the truth itself would seem obviously ridiculous. Convincing Marcus at this point becomes an exercise in futility, as anyone who comes bearing the truth would not only seem ridiculous, but strange, devious, and even evil. Let's change the circumstances of final time. Let's say that the ridiculous claim bears with it a caveat that believing it results in the ultimate reward, while disbelieving results in the ultimate punishment. Now, not only does Marcus have a tremendous incentive to believe what has already been relentlessly instilled in him to believe since birth, but he also has an incentive to spread the ridiculous claim to those who are unaware, or to convince those who disbelieve so that they too can be saved. In this way, using Marcus's goodness, the ridiculous claim reproduces, causing people to think that not only should they believe it, but that they need to believe it. Add this to all the previous circumstances, and it would be simply amazing if Marcus could ever see the ridiculous claim for the falsehood that it is, despite the fact that he's an intelligent guy. The funny thing about the truth is that it will remain true, even if you weren't raised to believe it. The truth requires no indoctrination, communities, traditions, institutions, governments, apologetics, stigmatization, tribalism, incentives, or punishments. Yet without these things, the ridiculous claim would utterly disappear, never to resurface. The truth, however, will remain true and available to be discovered even if nobody spreads it by the edge of a sword, or by the point of a gun, or by the explosion of a bomb, or by a parent to their child. At some point, maybe, just maybe, one day, Marcus will ask himself why the ridiculous claim needs so many dirty tricks to be believed.